Just going to wait for the stream to catch up and see if I actually have sound. Let's find out, shall we? Loading video and... Yes, we have sound. Now I mute my laptop, so I don't have to deal with playback. Okay. Begin video in 3, 2, 1. Hi. So, I decided to talk about Diablo 3 and what they do right. All sorts of that kind of stuff. And more. Kinda. Maybe? Sure. So, Diablo 3. Isometric RPG of fantasticness. Making up words as I go along. It is a dark fantasy genre RPG that has an isometric view, which basically means you look at it from above and at an angle, much like a bunch of old games. Let's see, Roller Coaster Tycoon, up until 3. Oh my goodness, so many. What was it called? That it was the first God game. Populous. Populous was isometric. There are a lot of isometric games. So not really unfamiliar to people. This is an RPG, which it means that you have stats and equipment. And let's just take a look. Wrong buttons. This button to zoom in. I can move around while zoomed in. Okay. So, your stats are, there are 4. Well, 4 main stats. Strength, dexterity, intelligence, and vitality. They each have something else, something to do, that's... it's kind of necessary, like, each one, depending on what kind of character you're playing. So there is no character generation per se. Your character doesn't look the way you want them to look unless you're wearing equipment, like so. So if you want to, say, play a crusader, well then you pick between male and female, and and then you just roll with whatever they originally look like. So I am playing a monk. Now, there are currently six classes, characters, whichever. And each, 2 of them each have strength, dexterity, and intelligence as their main stats. And what that basically means is it determines their damage, whereas vitality is used for all of them, and as you can see there, each point of vitality increases life by 100. So, I currently have 500,000 health. And as it says here, lose it all and you're dead. Now, dexterity is the monk's main stat. So there. That's what happens. It does stuff. Now, your equipment. You have a bunch of slots. Like, these are all your slots. And then each piece of equipment can have slots or sockets. And you can put gems in there. So there are 5 tiers of equipment. There is normal, which is white color. Is just the numbers, as you can see. Just below it's where it says legendary axe. It would just be those numbers. Nothing else would be below it. Like no primary, no secondary, nothing like that. Then there is magic. Magic is blue. Magic. I feel like I will be able to find a merchant and actually show this to you. Is there a merchant this way? Oh, hang on. Let me zoom out. Okay, there's a merchant over there. Hello, Squirt.
I heard you came here from Tristram. My family came from there.
Okay,
That
so
place has some very bad luck, hasn't it?
this is a rare magic. Sorry. It says so there. It has 1 or 2 special attributes to it. You know, where it says it does extra damage and has an empty socket. This one has a chance to deal 20% area damage on hit, and also increases the ability Deadly Reach, its damage by 11%. Then the next one up is Rare, which means it has more attributes. It's generally always better than a magic item of the same level. But still kind of boring, so to speak. And then let's just come back and there's legendary. They're orange, and legendaries are almost always better than rares. Almost. There are some legendaries that aren't, simply because they either they have rolled very poor stats, because all of the stats are randomly generated within boundaries. So if I hold down Control, you can see that Andariel's Visage here, fire skills deal 17% more damage, and that says 15 to 20%. That's the range in which the skill could have, or the ability could have rolled in. So it could be all the way up to 20%, or all the way down to 15, right? So generally, the higher the better. There are certain things where the lower the better, but that's just having to do with the cooldown of an ability. Yes. So legendary. This is actually an ancient legendary. This is the first time I've noticed that it's an ancient legendary. No wonder it's so good. The ancient prefix basically means that it is going to be much better than a normal one of the same level. It's just got a greater range at which to roll the base stat of armor in this example. Some legendary items also have a legendary affix. That is the orange text under the secondary. This one is attacks release a poison nova that deals 371% weapon damage as poison to enemies within 10 yards. All of them that are good. This one is just... I'll explain this one in a minute. All of the ones I consider good have this. It just adds more stuff. There are some exceptions to the rule, of course. There are exceptions to every rule, like the Flavor of Time. Some legendaries are unique, not in the fact that they have a legendary affix, but in the fact that they may have a stat that is quite unusual for something of the sort. So this is an amulet that grants you plus 11% movement speed. And now there's a conversation going on nearby me in game. Well, so it gives me plus 11% movement speed. Normally that only applies to, I think, boots and pants. Like, these boots give me... no, they don't give me movement speed because I re-rolled it. But yeah, I think it's just boots, maybe rings. But anyway, so it's very unique. It also reduces the cooldowns of skills and the resource cost of skills. So, yay. And this is what the rolls could have been, or, max. So, it's a really well rolled Flavor of Time. And then finally we have set pieces. Set pieces are as good as legendaries. They're the only reason you would pick a set piece over a legendary is because of the fact that it's part of a set. So these 8 demon boots, they are part of the Raiment of 1,000 Storms set. So if you'll notice there are 6 things listed below it. 2 of them are white, which means I have those on my person right now. I am wearing them. I also have the scales of the Dancing Serpent right there. And by having a certain number of pieces of the set equipped, they grant you additional bonuses. The Raiment of 1,000 Storms, for example, grants you grants you the ability that your spirit generators have a 25% increased attack speed and 300% increased damage when you have 2 or more equipped. And then if I were to equip 2 more, then then I would also get the dashing strike, spends 75 spirit, but refunds a charge when it does. And if I equip all 6 of them, then yeah, there's sometimes things can get a bit ridiculous. Right. So those are items. So let's see, max level is 70, so long as you have the DLC. DLC is Reaper of Souls. It is $40 compared to the base game of $20. Together it makes $60, and to be perfectly honest, the $20 base game without DLC is really 1/3 of the game. I mean, it's got 4 out of 5 acts, but it doesn't have this thing called Adventure Mode, which is what I'm currently in. Adventure mode basically means that you can run around and do whatever you want, whenever you want, without having to worry about the story. So hypothetically, I can go into the map, pop out to the map of Sanctuary, which is the world, and then say, I'm in Caldeum right now, but what if I wanted to go to Westmarch? Let's do that, just because. And then we hop over to the Survivors Enclave, which is the hub there, the town. And after loading screen, we'll be in Westmarch. Westmarch. Is it Westmarch? I can't remember. Yes, Westmarch. I'm kind of new to this, slightly. In addition, Adventure Mode allows you to have access to a few other things. I'm not sure if unlocking the Kanai's Cube here is actually one of those things that you can only get in Adventure Mode, but I don't know if it carries over to Story Mode as well. I think it does, but you can only unlock it in Adventure Mode, which means you need to get the DLC in order to unlock this. It's very useful. In Adventure Mode, you also have access to this obelisk here, and this is what I'm going to be doing for the actual interesting content whilst I talk about the game. So you have 2 rifts. There's the Nephilim Rift, and then there's a Greater Rift. And Nephilim Rifts are free, essentially, and they go based off of their difficulty is based off of the difficulty of your game, which ranges from normal all the way up to Torment 10. Torment 1 and higher are unlocked by reaching the level cap. Before you reach the level cap, you cannot play a game with a Torment difficulty, unless your friend invites you to one. So, Greater Rifts, they have their own tiers or levels, and as you can see here, level 1 is hard, level 2 and level 3 are between hard and expert. Notice that there's no, normal. It goes straight to hard, because that's what the Nephilim Rifts are for. The easiest Greater Rift is probably like the level 1 Greater Rift. I think I would say is harder than probably a Master Nephilim Rift, with the gear that you would have at hard, I should say. Well, even then. Anyway, unfortunately, Greater Rifts require these things called keys or keystones. I have 3, but I don't want to just use them because Greater Rifts are also timed. If you defeat the final boss of the rift in the time allotted, then you get a few rewards. And you also get ranked. But if you don't, then it's just a waste of a key, even though you do get some items. So we're going to be doing a Nephilim Rift, which is not timed, but it follows very much the same concepts as a Greater Rift. So we blew up the obelisk, and we hop into the portal that it created, because nothing can possibly go wrong by entering orange portals. I mean, Chell did it a lot. So, did the sound get reset? Give me a second. Sound. No, it didn't. It just seems loud. So, basically, there are lots of enemies here at any given time. They They are just here. They inhabit this cave, and we ruthlessly kill them in hopes to progress. There's also, as you just noticed, I opened up a chest. That would not be available in the Greater Rift. The Greater Rift, all of your loot, all the loot you would get is removed, and instead you get how do I put this? You get better loot at the end by killing the final boss. So yeah, so instead you have more loot, potential loot here, but it's not going to be as high quality as in the Greater Rift. Now, you'll notice that on the right side of my screen there is a bar. As that bar fills up, that shows you how much progress you've made throughout the Rift. So, I'm at 8%, you can hover over it and find out. Oh, hey look, perfect timing. This is what we call a blue pack. There are blue packs and there are yellow packs. Blue packs basically means that they have affixes. As you can see at the bottom, fire, chains, reflex damage, knockback, frozen. That discerns what special abilities it has innate. Oh boy. Okay, so let me just. As I told you, the it is possible for you to get loot in general in a Nephilim Rift, and usually, in a Greater Rift the loot is better. Well, set pieces are extremely rare, and to prove an exception, a set piece just dropped, an amulet of some description. Actually, since it's not timed, I will zoom in. I will open up my inventory. I know what this is because I've played too much of this game. But it says it's unidentified. It's a set amulet, and it cannot be equipped until it is identified. So you right-click it to identify it. In town, there's a thing called Kane's Book, and basically that it will allow you to identify all unidentified items in your inventory at once instead of having to go through that loading bar. So I believe this is Sun Wukong's Shines. Haven't looked at it yet. Let's see. I was right. Okay. So it's part of the Monkey King's Garb set, and it does stuff. It's not a set I'm going to end up using, but let's just see. We rolled max for the physical skills array, 2 points below max for resistance to all elements, below average dexterity bonus, about average extra gold percentage, and pretty high average or above average health globes and potions grant more life. And also we got an empty socket, which means we could put a gem in it, which will augment its abilities further. For example, here it would be considered other, so if I were to put an Imperial Ruby in, it would give it plus 100 strength, so when I equip it, I'd get an additional strength bonus. Not that that's very useful for my class, but it is for others. So, that's how the looting system works. You click on an item, picks it up. So we continue to go around killing things. There are shrines and there are pylons. I have an ability, or I have an item here. It says shrine effects last for 10 minutes. So by picking up this shrine, I will have plus 25% magic and gold find by killing monsters for 10 minutes. Wondrous, is it not? So I'm gonna have this above my head for like 10, as I said, 10 minutes. But that's, not terrible. In fact, it increases the chance of getting items, and of those items being better, like legendary or set. So we have another blue pack here. It kind of crumbled because almost crumbled. Wait for it. Crumbled. because it wasn't all that. The affixes weren't so terrible. The only affix that really held me up there was Frozen, and that's because it freezes you for a few seconds. Now, I should probably explain the bottom of the screen a bit. So, from left to right, the big old red orb, as I showed you, is your life total. Lose it all, you die. That's what it says on the package. Lose it all and you're dead. But I really like that explanation. It's just, like, how did someone else not come up with that already? Or why haven't more people used it? It's brilliant. Then we have abilities 1 through 4. Then you'll notice there's a little left click and a right click button on the mouse. They each do various things. For example, if I press 2, I dash, which is this little short boost. It is on cooldown. If I press 3, I will get a force field, because that's what the ability does, and you can assign any ability to it. These are just the abilities I've been using. Right-clicking allows me to perform what is called the 7-sided strike, which is currently my build's bread and butter. It's also on a cooldown. Here we have a yellow pack. Solasius Filthpit. Now, that's a lot of guys. Why is that a lot of guys? Because they have the Illusionist affix. That means that they will create more versions of themselves that aren't actually themselves. Now, pressing 1 makes me turn glowy and blue, and I can teleport to my target. Also, I regenerate spirit, which is all the way to the right. It's basically mana. Let's pick up the stats again. There is mana for wizards. Each class has their own version of it. This is a channeling pylon. That means I don't have any cooldowns, so I can just do this. Even into walls. Pylons are significantly stronger than shrines. Simply, you know, as you can easily tell. I right-clicked accidentally there. But they last significantly shorter, even without my gloves, with their legendary affix. So, yellow packs, as I was saying. There's one of them plus minions. And they are more powerful, they usually have names, whereas blue packs are just the name of the monster, like Morlu Incinerator here. So, what was the thing's name? Filthpit? Solasius Filthpit. Okay, so we're getting around, like, 40%? 35%. I was gonna say 33%, and I was like, no, I think it's a little bit more than that, and I was wrong. Well, I was right, but I overestimated. So, we're, once this bar fills up, then, ooh, I teleported because of Zalux the Fiend! So, I just used my number 1 ability again. My number 4 ability is kind of, I don't really use it all that often, because my right click applies it automatically. Every third attack, it will apply Exploding Palm, which is this. Left click will generate spirit, like this stuff, and right click, as I said, is this 7-sided strike. Which is, it can get silly. It hasn't gotten silly yet, and yes, I just pretty much destroyed everything on the screen with it. It wasn't actually that impressive because it was mostly my abs that did it, but
I must wait to use that.
yeah, when I get the entire set that I'm building towards, it will be ridiculous. So, let's go into the second floor, shall we? So, we just went from underground to above ground by descending. How does that work? I don't know. This is the rifts are generally considered to just defy all reason. Just because. Like this kind of stuff can get a bit silly. I mean, yeah. So what is this? These are undead. Zombies, fiends, they're just generally weak. Which is really good if I had a lot of AoE, which I actually removed for this build. AoE stands for Area of Effect. Basically, as you might see every single time, every so often, not every single time, every so often, you may notice a green ring appear out of me. There's a small one and then there's a very large one. That one, right there. That's all of my area of effect damage, and it's based on my helmet and my offhand weapon. Those are what grant it to me. So we're just murdering everything on the screen over and over again. This is what you do with Rifts. It's fairly lackluster. But why do people play this game? Why would someone spend $60 on this game, right? Well, it's because, as I remember when I said that greater rifts are timed and ranked, and I kind of left it at that. Well, it's you complete various tiers of hey, I can speak words. Oh, I teleported way over here. Thank you, Borgaz the Destroyer. Oh, there he is. I found him. And now he's dead. No, not dead yet. Now he's dead. Right, so. Greater rifts. They are timed. If you beat it if you beat the boss before time ends, then you get ranked. The reason you continuously play this game is it's really of your own volition after you complete the main story. As I mentioned, there are two modes: campaign mode and adventure mode. Campaign mode has the story, adventure mode does not, but you have to play through campaign mode to actually unlock the various areas of adventure mode. And yeah. Adventure mode is just, it lets you do the rifts and stuff. So you at least have to know what's going on before you can start doing rifts and such. Oh, well, didn't my Templar die? He did. Let's see. So I'm out of combat, and he's going to pop back and say he saw the light, but no, he's not. Okay. No, he's alive now, but he's not saying anything. Anyway. Right. So what you do is you set your own record, and then of your own volition you try and beat that record. The game doesn't force you to do anything. It's just, you just strive to be better, get better gear, beat harder rifts. It may seem kind of vague, but that's kind of the appeal. It doesn't try and overextend at all. Very useful. I picked up an item that I didn't want to pick up, but I guess I'll keep it. In fact, I'll grab this one as well, just so I can show you stuff. Right. So your friends and people around the world are compared against each other on these leaderboards. But there's one last grand appeal, and those are seasons. Season 4 recently started, I believe, at the beginning. The beginning of the month. So that means it was I think it was September 3rd or 4th it started. And they last a couple months. I don't know how many exactly. I basically started playing this game at the beginning of the season, so again, I've been playing this game for about 2 weeks then, on and off. So, oh look, more disembodied hoax. Right, so seasons. you can opt for your character, when you create a character, for it to either be a regular character or a seasonal character. Your regular characters all share the same stash, the same artisan levels, the same amount of gold, the same amount of blood shards. So basically currency and certain loot. Seasonal characters, however, don't. They are isolated from your account. Even from each other. You can't have more than one seasonal character. And what you do is, for the duration of the season, you progress this character from level 1 to level 70, and then you attempt to you attempt to get it to really high ranked on the seasonal leaderboards. You do this by completing higher ranked rifts and also increasing your Paragon level. I'm picking this up again for purposes for later. Words. Yay, words! My ability to speak is slowly degenerating, I understand. This number over here, where my finger is here, that is my Paragon level. I don't think I actually spent all my Paragon points, so if you press P, these are these Paragon points equal to your level give you passive buffs, so long as you have these points spent. Whenever you make a new character, you can respend all your points in different ways. Let's see, I will increase my maximum spirit, and life and resource cost reduction. Right, so you get more of these levels, so you get slightly stronger once you reach level 70. Once you reach the max level and you can't get any more experience towards that, and I right-clicked again, you start earning Paragon levels. Come here. So, I was about to say, it's very quiet. Nope, not anymore. They've ruined the peace and quiet. So, again, seasonal characters are something you do on your own. Basically, what I understand is some people will actually stop playing this game until a new patch comes out. Patches will, and I just gained a Paragon level there. Patches will introduce new items. They will change some items, some pre-existing items, because they may be too powerful or too weak, and the developers want to fix that. So it really changes the game ever so slightly, and sometimes even significantly. So people will hold off playing. Oh, hey, look. People will hold off playing until, a new patch comes out. So it's not something you play, like, you spend all of your time playing. So this is the Rift Guardian. He's a big bad. He's got his own name. He is the Choker. Every single time you fight the same Rift Guardian, he's going to have the same quote-unquote affixes. But they aren't readily shown here. Because you might notice that normally, a blue pack or a yellow pack would have is underneath their life bar. But no, this is not the case. So what are we supposed to do against it? That's kind of the point. So once you kill him, like that, a fountain of loot appears. So let's see. There's a lot of gold. There's some of this stuff called arcane dust. Let's pick that up. There's some amethyst. There are these blood shards. I mentioned those. I'll show you what they do back at town. Lots of gold. You don't have to click to pick up gold or blood shards, but you do have to click to pick up pretty much everything else. And again, pick all this stuff up so I can show you something else later. Not too much later, hopefully. So, next, now we're back in town. So, in order to complete the rift and close it up, we can continuously re-enter the rift, but any enemies we killed are dead. They don't respawn. But we can continue to descend further and further in, not that there's any reason to. We speak with Auric, who's a ghost, and then he'll say something along those lines. You know, sometimes it's, you know, the blood runs true within you, or that was a great battle, or what have you. And you'll get experience and gold for completing the quest. So, it's going to close in 15 seconds. Now, I mentioned artisans. Artisans are things, people like Covetous Shen, the jeweler, or Hadrig, the artisan, or Miriam, the mystic. Yes. And then also, apparently, Zoltan Kuhl and Kanai's Cube. They are one and the same, really. You do anything with Kanai's Cube, and he's going to comment on it. They're also considered artisans, but you can't level them up. You can't level them up. But you know, each artisan has something they do, and it's pretty much each one is essential. Some people argue that the jeweler isn't, but you know, if you're not getting legendary gems, which are its own can of worms, I'm not even going to get into those this video. You know, then you're going to be wanting to combine gems, and that's why the jeweler is essential. So, let's go to the blacksmith. What is this? Repair. Repair, and what's this? Items have durability, as shown in the bottom right-hand corner of their item box. You'll see the butcher's sickle has 33 of 35. Use will wear down durability, and if it reaches, I think, half durability, maybe, it becomes less effective, and when it reaches 0 durability, it's ineffective. It does not grant you anything. So you're going to want to continuously come back to the blacksmith and repair. It costs a fair bit of gold, but it's usually chump change unless you've died a lot compared to what you usually end up getting. What he also does is you can make weapons that are more often than not nowhere near as good as stuff that drops. Like you see the wedge here. Actually, here. Yutar's Roar. You'll notice that both of these, have a required level 70, but the Yutar's Roar has a damage per second of 461.5 compared to the Butcher's Sickle, which is a little over 2,000. So yeah, not as good. I mean, sure, it does more cold damage, but whatever. It won't actually add up. You know, you can also forge armor. Again, not nearly as good as stuff that drops. Salvage. This is the more important thing. So, in campaign mode, you only have this one big button. So you click on this, and then you click on, you know, one item at a time, and it will give you, you know, for salvaging a rare, you get a Veiled Crystal. For salvaging a magic item, you get Arcane Dust. Salvage a legendary, you'll get something else. I don't know about set pieces because I haven't decided to remove those yet. Oh good, that's now account bound up. I can show you stuff like this. So yeah. But in adventure mode, you have these 3 other buttons, and it will destroy all of them, all of one color. So I don't have any normal items because I don't even pick those up. Even like I just ignore them just out of habit now. So if I passed any by, I really wouldn't noticed. So let's just break down all magic items. Yes, we'd like to do this. There were apparently 6 arcane dusts worth. And then let's also break down all rares, and there was a bit more there. So now we've just cleared up our inventory except for the Sun Wuko's Shines that we got earlier on, really early on in the Rift. So that's, you know, and you can use buttons. You can use these materials to do all sorts of stuff, namely re-enchanting items at the Mystic. I'm not going to get into that though. So, right, I was going to show you something with this. So, Kanai's Cube. There are 7 documented recipes and 2 undocumented recipes. The undocumented recipes are Easter eggs, essentially. Or access to Easter eggs that were temporarily available. So, Kanai's Cube is mostly used for the first one, extract legendary power. And it requires 1 of each of these things, and then 5 of these things called Death's Breath. Now, each of these can be used by completing bounties in each act. By completing all the bounties, you get something called a Horadric Cache, or Cache, what have you. And it will, you will open it up, and it will have a number of each of these in it, depending on the act. So let's put those in. It will take what is necessary and no more. It'll put everything else back in your inventory. And let's put in this Haunt of Vaxo. Why the Haunt of Vaxo? Well, I mentioned legendary affixes, the orange text. By using this, and you might notice these 3 things at the bottom, you can take the orange text and apply it directly to the cube. So, if we click transmute, it'll say it failed for some reason, and I still don't know why. It did this earlier. Hold on, let me go get another item. Where am I going? Here. Alright, the stash. Did I call it a cache earlier? Stash. This is the stuff that's available to all of your characters that are non-seasonal. So, let's put this back, and let's grab, let's say... well, let's grab these pants. So, I don't keep legendary items that don't have affixes, unless they're better than what I've currently got on me. And it's got to be much better. So, put these all back in. Then we'll put in the Poxfolds. And that its affix is when 3 or more enemies are within 12 yards, you release a vile stench that deals 497% weapon damage as poison every second for 5 seconds to enemies within 15 yards. That is a whole lot of text. Basically, it means that you fart and hurt people. So let's transmute, and now it'll warn us, saying that it will destroy the legendary item. Well, I'm fine with that. I wasn't using it anyway.
Small goals. I won't judge.
As I mentioned, Zoltan Cool, you might see at the bottom, you might have heard him. He comments whenever you do something like this. So, Kanai's Cube has 3 slots, 1 for weapons, 1 for armor, and 1 for rings. I think it's just rings. Pretty sure it's just rings. No, it's rings and amulets. Okay. So, and for rings and amulets, aha. So, the pants, oh look, Poxfolds. Now that number is significantly higher. Why is that? Kanai's Cube will take the best possible roll and apply it. And you can click on it, and you'll always have it, even if you're not wearing... you always have this orange text, even when you're not wearing the Poxfolds. I have Spirit Guards on because it's better than Poxfolds. So yeah, so that's very useful. You can get it in Act 3, the Ruins of Sescheron. Floor 2? Yes. Okay, now, I keep on wandering towards Kadala, and I mentioned these things called blood shards. She's also known as the Gambler. She is a special merchant that only deals in blood shards, and you may notice that there are mystery weapons. It's any weapon. Basically, I guess you could say it forces a drop. So let's just make some small purchases. I can make 25 shard purchases, and let's just see what we get, shall we? So, how about we do helms, right? So, required level 16, and we just right-click.
What a steal.
And she says that because she's the one that stole stuff from me, because if you notice all this, it's just rare crap that is... Like, yes, the number here is much higher, but if you look at the bottom of Watchful Scrawl, it'll say stat changes if equipped, and all of those are red. That means it's nowhere near as good. Oh, sorry, drinking. So these are just terrible. Oh, this is that one actually increases recovery a bit. Bleh. So we go back to the blacksmith, our good old friend, and say to hell with all that. Destroy it all and give me veiled crystals. So yeah, that's what blood shards do. Well, what else was I going to promise that we were going to talk about? Bounties. These exclamation points each have a bounty, and you complete all 5 on a map, and you'll, as I said, you'll get a Horadric cache, whatever. So let's see. This is kill that thing. There's clear the perilous cave, brutal assault, kill that guy, and then that's something. All right. Let's try something else. Oh, hey look, bonus, Chaldeum. Clear the ruins. The cursed battlement. Blood and iron. So all of these, oh, what's this? Kill the guy that's helping us with the Knights Cube? Story. I'm not going to spoil anything. That's why I'm playing adventure mode. Let's go to the Howling Plateau, because if the title of the quest has something like the cursed something or other, then basically that means that you're going to be partaking in a very short event that you really don't have to worry about. Hey look, protection shrine. For 10 minutes, damage taken is reduced by 25% because of these gloves. So if I wander around a bit on my mini-map, there will appear an orange arrow if I'm not going in the right direction. And it'll just point me towards this cursed shrine that I have to cleanse. Oh, hey, look. I was headed in the right direction and it still popped up. Very useful. I'm going to just dash into here. So, there are a lot of enemies around here already. Let's just dispatch them. Now you'll notice, oh, I have 2 of the same quest. Well, this is for the bounty. This is the event. Inspect the cursed shrine. Okay. Oh no, time remaining. Defeat each wave of enemies before the timer expires. And if I defeat 5 waves in the time that is given per wave, like that, then it will give me a bonus chest.
It is not ready yet.
So dead. This is pretty good example. This was actually just the quickest example. It's not specifically the best example, but it's the quickest.
It is not ready.
Oh no! Where is it? Kill him! No! The timer expired because the guys kept summoning ads. Man, I just whiffed really hard. Okay. So, at the bottom it says, bounty complete. He had the goal of attacking me. And over here you'll notice that I received rewards twice. One for the general event. That would be this one here, the top one. And then the bounty also gave me some gold, some experience. And that's what you do. Then, because it was a cursed shrine, now you can pick it up and get the protection shrine and move on.
I am returning to town.
And by completing, as I said, each bounty on a map, you will get Horadric cache. Still, I'm going to pretty much say that every single time I say it. It's just cache or cache, who knows. Yeah, so Diablo 3 in a nutshell. Is it worth it to buy the game, the base game? Yeah, it'll. If you aren't planning on playing it every single day for 3 hours a day or what have you, then yes, the base game will last you about a week. If you are planning on playing it quite a bit for, like extended periods of time, it'll last you maybe a couple days. That's just $20. That gives you Acts 1 through 4, max level cap of 60, and a lot of stuff hidden behind the $40 paywall. As I said, it's about a third of a game. Then you go buy the DLC, which is Reaper of Souls, $40. Means that it's the same price as a normal AAA game, and it's the full game. So let's press Z and zoom in, because that kind of thing is, I don't know, what people do. Pretty sure there's like, is there wave? Wave? No, it's not.
Take this. Thank you.
There are emotes as well.
Our path is one.
Yes, it is. So,
My thanks.
for watching. And, yeah, that was really corny. Alright, so, that's Diablo 3. So, I guess that's